Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Bayou Bets for Monday, October the 10th. It's actually a Saints victory edition of Bayou Bets for the first time in a month. Wasn't sure when we would get to say that again, but it happened. Honestly, you guys were at the game. You can tell me. We'll get to that in a minute because there were certain points I'm not sure how it did happen. But we are the sports betting show for South Louisiana sports fans and sports bettors. If you are one but not the other, we can solve that problem for you with a promo code NOLAFUL, and that's to sign up for Caesar Sportsbook for new users. One thing that's not on here that I think we should mention more often too is that you get 1,000 Caesars rewards points when you sign up through this promo code too, NOLA.com/Caesars. You can use those rewards points to go stay a night at Harrah's in New Orleans. You can use them for casino credits. You can use them for restaurants, all sorts of stuff to do with that. So go to NOLA.com/Caesars. Even if you don't want to get huge into the betting game yet, those Caesars rewards points are pretty cool. And then you could just put a bet here, bet there as you feel the need to. Also would like to implore everyone to sign up for our newsletter, our Bayou Bets newsletter. You can go to NOLA.com/Bayou Bets to do that. And we come into your inbox live every morning at 6 days a week. Not live. I mean, we write it the night before.
Well, I mean, it's kind of live. When you're reading it, it's live.
Yeah. You can't reply and we're going to answer at 6:30 in the morning. That's not what I mean. But 6 days a week, every morning except for Wednesday mornings, you get that in your inbox. So let's move on and talk about the Saints. Y'all were at the Dome yesterday. I'm actually in Las Vegas at a conference, so I was flying here. Saints covered. That was the other thing that they hadn't done much of. In fact, last week was the first time they'd done it at all, and that was only if you got them at 3.5 against the Vikings or 4. So they won by or lost by 3 last week. This week they actually cover, beating the Seahawks 39-32. Just a wild and crazy game, Jim.
Well, they got help to cover. So the Seahawks miss an extra point. That for some unknown reason, they go for 2 when they don't have to. I mean, even the analytics don't say go for 2 when they went for 2. It made 0 sense to go for 2. And then the Saints went for 2 because they went for 2 and missed. So that's 3 points right there that changed the game. So if none of those things happen and the Seahawks aren't being the Seahawks, the Saints don't cover. So you can thank Pete Carroll, who is the worst, longest tenured coach in the history of the NFL, if that makes any sense. But as far as the game goes, I mean, I said on Datitude this morning. I don't know. I'm not. There were obviously some great things, but I mean, Taysom Hill having the game of his life to beat the Seahawks, is that something to get excited about? I'm not really thinking that it is. So I think we'll learn a lot more about this team. A win is a win. So don't get me wrong. You take what you can get. And it was a must win. I don't care what Zach Ewing says. I don't care what Jeff Duncan says. It was absolutely a must win. You can't go 1-4 and hope to have a winning record or go to the playoffs because none of those things are going to happen. They still might not happen. But to have a chance to do those things, you had to beat Seattle. And if it takes Taysom having the game of his life, so be it.
No, and I mean, I do think getting Taysom more involved is a good thing for this offense. They need playmakers. He's one of the few playmakers they've got. But to your point, the Seahawks made some curious decisions. Yeah, I'm a go for 2 type guy. Did not understand that one. I just wonder if they thought they had a play that would work. I didn't get it. But the Saints also did. Spencer, the Saints did plenty to help the Seahawks out in this game too, as they have been doing. That's really been the issue.
Yeah, more turnovers were an issue again. Alvin Kamara fumbling, Andy Dalton interception. So it's not like the Saints played a perfect game by any means, but the offense, with the way they used Taysom Hill, was very effective, the most effective we've seen the offense all year. And I feel like Andy Dalton, while he didn't light the world on fire, he's definitely better than a beat-up Jameis Winston. Because, he did his job. He wasn't great, but he did his job. And the running game was incredible. With Kamara and Taysom Hill both going over 100 yards. The thing that stunk up the joint, though, was in the secondary. What is going on with the Saints secondary? I mean, Lattimore and those guys have got to tighten up because he can't keep getting beat deep like that. Lockett and Metcalf just destroyed him.
Does anybody understand what your boy Kyle is even saying?
Well, you said you don't know that Taysom Hill's big game was something to get excited about, and he's saying, I guess if it had been Traquan Smith's big game, would you have been excited about it?
No, I'm talking about it's one player is the point. I mean, I don't know what was said during the week that I missed, but in my one and done fantasy league where you pick a player, you get to pick any lineup you want. Once you use a player, you can use them the rest of the year. There are 18 teams in the league, and I'm not kidding. Like 13 of them use Taysom Hill. I don't know what was said somewhere that I missed, but they all used them, and I got obviously left out in the cold. So
because the Seahawks suck against tight ends.
I wish I had the foresight in fantasy because my tight ends are a disaster.
I wish I had a cohort who would give me such tips like that when we were just talking or texting. I don't know. Wish I had a friend like that. Wish I had a friend like that.
I admit I missed on that one. I did not expect Taysom because but he did it all as a runner though.
That's the thing is he didn't do it as a traditional
he didn't catch a single.
Doesn't matter how he does it. He still gets the points. So I mean,
I get it, but it's just anyone that I guess the people in your league saw it coming, Jim. But I surely didn't. I loved it. I love Taysom Hill. I got his jersey, but it's like I didn't expect that though because it's just 3 rushing touchdowns. Like he's like a fullback. He's like Mike Allstott out there, like old school fullback.
That's exactly what it is. They're more clairvoyant than I am. That's okay, but I know we'll talk about what's coming up next, but and you talk about the Saints covering, and we never showed the graphic, but 39-32. I mean, boy, it went way over. This shows how bad the Seahawks defense really is, but how bad is the Saints offense? I mean, I know Zach, you're gonna go and praise Geno Smith, and
he looked good, man. He did,
and praise Rashad Penny, who's now hurt, and Kenneth Walker, and you can praise whoever you want on that team. They're not good. But
why did you think I would praise them?
Because that's just what you do. When I start talking poo-pooing somebody, you like to say, "Well, they're pretty good."
Geno
made some
had a
legitimately good
season.
I will say that.
I know he crumbled down the stretch, but yeah, he was. He made the throws.
But you can't.
Overall, Geno sucks.
The Saints are going to have to get better because you look at again, we talk about it all year. It's a backloaded schedule. I think their next 3 games, they're home against Cincinnati. We'll talk about that in a minute. They're at Arizona on Thursday night, short week. And then they're home against Vegas, against the Raiders. Well, you got to win 2 out of those 3.
The thing that's the scariest about it is, other than Tom Brady, who's playing like 45-year-old Tom Brady right now, he does. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Something's not right with him. But the quarterbacks you've now played this year, besides Tom Brady, Marcus Mariota, Baker Mayfield, and Geno Smith. So, and you're not playing
Kirk Cousins, man. Put some respect.
And Kirk, sorry about Kirk, Mr. Primetime Kirk Cousins. I mean, so it's about to get really tough in that regard. I mean, you're about to play Joe Burrow. Kyler Murray hasn't played outstanding this year, but still, I mean, the Saints don't play well against running quarterbacks, so that scares the bejesus out of me if you're a Saints fan. So, I mean, I don't know.
And then Derek Carr, then Lamar Jackson. I mean, you're talking about
better step it up.
Established veteran quarterbacks.
That scares me.
Oh, Lord.
We struggle against Marcus Mariota. I mean, look, come on, Lamar Jackson. He's the freaking best mobile quarterback there is. Like, I mean, if Jalen Hurts, the way Jalen Hurts.
Oh, he's better than Jalen Hurts. He's better than Jalen Hurts. He's better than Kyler Murray.
But it does start. Next week the Saints are back home against the Bengals. The Bengals are road favorites. It opened at 1. It's now 1.5. So maybe a little bit of early money coming in on Cincinnati. Won't go as far, Jim, to say this one's a must win. But like I said, I think the Saints have to look at getting 2 of the next 3 and getting to 4-4.
I'm with you as far as I'm not going to say it's a must win. I'm not going to label this one a must win because then that means that next week, if they lose this week, then you can't say it's a must win. You're just saying it's over. So it's as close to a must win as you can possibly get because 2-4 isn't that much better than 1-4. I mean, and if you think about it, so I mean, do you want to have to beat Arizona and have to beat Las Vegas and have to beat Baltimore? Because to me, you gotta win all 3 of those if you can't win this one. And so I think they match up better with Cincinnati than they match up with probably a Baltimore or something like that. But
way better.
But Baltimore's defense isn't very good. Cincinnati's defense is a little bit better, I think. But they'll probably pick on Eli Apple most of the day. But they better figure things out because they still don't look good. I think it was more relief. I asked the question in attitude, was it relief or joy? And I think it was probably more relief than it was joy. But the fact that they could smile in the locker room certainly is a help, and it beats what we've had the past few weeks.
Yeah, and the
No
other
doubt about
issue, the other issue is the receiver injuries. I mean, Chris Olave now in concussion protocol. Jarvis Landry was out. Michael Thomas is out. I mean, those guys are going to have to be back because if they don't have your top 3 weapons, I don't see how you're going to be able to keep up with Cincinnati with
Mike
all
Thomas
the
is
weapons
supposed to be
they've
back.
got. We hope.
We've heard that before, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I do think he'll be back, but we shall see. Elsewhere around the NFL, some interesting, very interesting results actually, especially in London. The Giants beating the Packers. The Bucs get the benefit of a very questionable roughing the passer call. Imagine Tom Brady getting called.
That's not the word. Questionable. That's not the right word.
What is the right word?
Bull, and I can't say the blank part, the last part of the word.
How about wrong?
Show. Bull wrong. Okay, bull wrong. I like it.
I just said wrong.
Okay, well, I added a little something to it. It was terrible.
Yeah. Anything else stick out to you guys? The Cowboys go to LA and I mean, not just beat the Rams, they really whipped them, especially defensively. The Rams had nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that surprised me. I figured Matthew Stafford and them would do a little better. But the Cowboys defense, the Cowboys, I kind of liked them against the spread, but they ended up winning outright. Their defense is legit. I mean, Mike McCarthy's not a great coach. Their offense isn't that great. But with their defense playing the way it is, Cowboys are a threat. I mean, I was down on them in the offseason, but I didn't realize how good their defense was. If their defense keeps this up,
you laughed at me in the offseason. You laughed at me in the offseason when
I did. I did. I didn't think their defense was this good, but they've obviously got pieces there. They've shut down the Rams. I forgot who they shut down last week, but they've been getting the pieces.
The Eagles this week.
Yeah, who would have thought, by the way, that the NFC East would have all the 4-1 teams in it? You got the Eagles are 5-0, but the Cowboys and Giants both 4-1.
You got the Commandos screwing up the division.
I mean, somebody's got to lose.
Yeah, they're the doormat.
Somebody's got to lose to those teams. But yeah, very impressive division. Starting to look like maybe 2 wild cards come out of that division. We'll see if the Giants can keep it up, but it's going to make it tough to make the playoffs.
Can you pull the graphic back up real quick? Because you forgot to mention the most significant, insignificant game of this whole group. 49ers beating the Panthers. Now Matt Rule is out of a job. And that, I mean, the Panthers now have the 4th longest record ever for losing consecutive games while allowing 17 points to their opponents. 25. They've lost 25 games in a row when allowing 17 points. There are only 3 streaks higher than that in the NFL history. And I'm not sure what took the Panthers owners so long to fire that dude, because when he let Joe Brady go, that was the end of it for me.
That's the game, guys, that's going to haunt the Saints. That game at Carolina.
There's no question.
Give up the scoop and score early on, and then you miss a field goal. You miss 2 field goals, and you're just kind of fighting this uphill bet. That's the game. End of the year, the Saints will be
killed them in the stats.
Whatever they're going to be, and they'll have a playoff scenario going into Week 18. Oh, if they win and the Giants and Vikings both lose and this many point differential, right. Wouldn't it be nice to have one more win? And that's the game you're going to look at.
Like the Giants game last year.
Yes.
Yeah, and that ended up costing the Saints the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if that's what happens again, because Carolina's been a train wreck, except for when they played the Saints.
Even then, they were pretty much a train wreck. The Saints gave them the game.
Certainly beatable.
Well, and I can tell you right now, if the Saints win 7 games, exactly 7 games, no one will care because, well, no one, but hardly anyone will care because they will make, they wouldn't have made the playoffs anyway. Yeah, but they cost me hundreds of dollars. If they
we need to get to 8. We need to get to 8, guys.
That is the magic number. Got to get to 8.
I think it was Luke Johnson, our Saints beat writer for the Times-Picayune, who tweeted this out yesterday. He said, you can see, you watch the Saints, and for 10 plays, 12 plays in a row, you say, hey, they've got the talent here. I can see the pieces of a good team. And then they do something so astronomically stupid where, and it just sets them back 10 to 12 more plays. And that's, I understand they could have beat Carolina. They had to double doink against Minnesota. If Mark Ingram doesn't fumble against Tampa Bay, there's a path to them being 4-1 right now. Or they could have won
5-0.
But none of these games Yeah, none of these games you finish up and
Or
say, they had no
0-5.
chance. They had no chance. Yeah, or 0-5, certainly.
Or 0-5.
So,
well, not
like
That's the NFL. I mean,
they weren't going to lose yesterday.
Unless it's Bills Steelers, pretty much every game comes down to the wire.
I mean, you say they weren't going to lose yesterday, but they sure as hell gave it a try. They sure as
Wasn't
hell
for
gave it a try.
Taysom Hill, they'd have lost yesterday.
Yeah, even when they got down to the fourth quarter, at no point did I think they were going to lose. I mean, in fact, I told Spencer yesterday when the Seahawks took a lead, I'm like, I'm going to wait till the Seahawks score one more time, and then I'm pouncing on the Saints. And I bet more live money on one team yesterday than I bet probably the whole year. I pounced on the Saints. Actually got to like plus 140, and I pounced on them, and so that helped.
Williams says Saints make too many mistakes. Yeah, they do, and that's if they don't clean that up, this season's going nowhere. If they do,
that's true.
They can beat some of these teams. I mean, so that's really what we're waiting to see is if they can. Week 5 finishes up tonight in Kansas City. Chiefs are 7-point favorites against the Raiders. Spencer, you texted about this morning saying, hey, am I missing something obvious? Seems like Chiefs -7 and the over 51.5. The money's going the other way, though. The money's going to the Raiders and the under. So this is one of those games where does somebody know something? Do the Raiders have a game plan? The Raiders have played the Chiefs tough at times over the last couple of years, usually in Vegas, not in Kansas City. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I ended up just following the trends and going with the over and the Chiefs -7 because while this could be a lot closer than the last year's contest where the Chiefs just absolutely blew the doors off the Raiders because it is Josh McDaniels now as the Raiders head coach. So I do think their game plan will be a lot better, but I just don't see Derek Carr being able to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. I know Devontae Adams adds a new element there, but to me, the Chiefs, they carved up a Bucs defense that had been doing great, and the Raiders, to me, just don't have enough on defense to be able to slow Mahomes and them boys down.
Two reasons why I'm not going to play it very much because I'm betting the Raiders. I already have I told y'all about a money line parlay. I think the Chiefs will win. The reason why I don't like the Chiefs tonight, and if you do like them, I wouldn't put a lot on it, is because they're sandwiched in between playing Tampa Bay and Buffalo. So it's a terrible spot for the Chiefs. It's really, and they talk this smack. They've been talking smack this week. It's Raider week and all this. Don't think the Raiders don't see this stuff. So I think the Raiders are achieved as well. They're in the same boat the Saints are in. The only difference is they got to play the Chiefs and the Saints have to play the Seahawks. Big difference. But it's just not a good spot for Kansas City at all. And if I bet a little bit on Vegas, and I wouldn't touch that over with a stick. Drunk Joe, Aunt Mabel, and everybody living at Joe Q Public's house is on that game on the over. They're not even betting the game. They're all betting the over.
And by the way, the over's gotten the money, but the total's going down, which makes you think somebody smart somewhere has a lot of money on the under.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not that's a touch because I'm with Spencer. The fact that it looks like, how can this not go over? And then you watch it and it's 23-21 and you go, oh, that's how.
How did that happen?
I mean, if you look at the Bengals and the Ravens, the last 2 games they played combined for 120
points.
And
then look how last night went. That made no sense.
I made it one of my best bets. I fell for the bait. It happens. So I'm not falling for the bait tonight.
And Tim, I don't think that's exactly what Tim is talking about here, but he's right. The NFL isn't what it usually looks like. There are surprises around every corner in the NFL. Who would have had the Giants and Jets with winning records? I mean, that's where we're at.
Giants.
Well, we did talk about the Giants in preseason. If you were watching Bayou Bets, that is for sure. As we finish recapping the weekend, by the way, LSU on Saturday. This was not a must-win by any stretch of the imagination, but it was one of those. If you win, that opens up all sorts of other conversations about where LSU can go. They did not win. We don't have it up here, but they lost 40-13 to Tennessee.
Put that one in there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it was not close. And now they go to Florida. So they're underdogs at Florida, and if they lose this one, then it gets back to the conversation of, well, can LSU even make a bowl game? Because outside of UAB, there are no guaranteed wins on this schedule left.
I think.
But go ahead, Spence. You can go first.
Okay, yeah, I think there could maybe be value here because Florida's been solid this year, but they're kind of in the same boat as LSU. They've had some good moments, but some bad. First year head coach, so I could see this one going either way. So I'd probably lean Florida, but I think there could be value at LSU, especially for those that are feeling bold and with the money line. I could maybe see it, but I mean, with Billy Napier, though, Florida, they tend to not make too many mistakes, so it's going to be another tough one for the Tigers.
This will be the last time I say this all year, most likely. I love LSU in this spot. I think LSU is better than Florida. I think Florida's overrated. I don't understand why they're giving LSU 2.5 points. They haven't played well at all, except in the Utah game. They haven't. I mean, I don't understand what they see there. And so I think that this should be more like even. I didn't understand the line last week, and I thought Tennessee would give LSU something. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was, but I think LSU is better than Florida overall. And I think LSU goes out there and wins, and I think wins by double digits. I really think LSU is that much better than Florida.
Wow. He's talking trash about Billy Napier over there.
And it's nothing about it. I love Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier is an outstanding coach, and I think he's going to – I think he's in a situation similar to Brian Kelly where a lot of his the big players that were there, a lot of them left, and he's having to rebuild the program himself. I think Billy Napier is going to be an outstanding coach for a long time in college football. I just don't think that program is in the shape that – I don't think they've been in this spot in 20 years, sort of like LSU. I just think LSU's defense is that much better than Florida. I don't think Florida's going to score a whole bunch, and I think LSU will be able to move the ball.
This might be one of the most
inconsequential. Yes, Kyle, I have seen Florida's quarterback play.
This might be one of LSU and the most inconsequential games in LSU Florida history. I mean,
I agree.
It just doesn't really mean anything outside of who's going to get the Liberty Bowl bid. I mean, okay. Big bucks. Nobody wants to talk about big bucks. We're done with that.
Oh, whoa.
No, nobody
Whoa, buddy. We'll go back to that slide for a sec.
Look, see, you saw it now. Goodbye.
That's a shame. You can't even take your whipping like a real man.
All right.
I mean, look,
not going so good.
I had to sit here and endure the mess that, Devin Jackson would just sit back and smile while you rip me for 5 minutes. You touched the button and said, "There's big ball, so let's move on." No. It doesn't work that way this year.
I tried.
Where's Devin when we need him?
No, it hasn't. But, much like you last year, Jim, like the things I put down for big bucks have been garbage. And then in my own account, when I'm betting, I'm doing okay. So I'm just picking out the wrong ones, I guess. I don't know.
Sure, you are, Zach. That's okay. If that's make you feel better and sleep better at night, then you go ahead.
I'm sleeping very well in this Las Vegas Strip suite. So I guess I'm
go ahead. Okay. Act like you're Ben Affleck and J-Lo. Go ahead. Live it up.
Man, I'm just glad to have the lead in big bucks. It feels nice. My top pick is saved me because I usually go 3-2, but my top picks hit 4. I think I'm 4-1 with that. It was the Saints for this week. The Saints came through for me.
Yeah. And whatever I'm doing is not working. So I'll start taking cues from you guys. William, by the way, a couple of comments on LSU. Said Brian Kelly and the coach's terrible game plan, needed to get Jack Besh in at tight end. Also decided not to play Harold Perkins.
Yeah, shout out to Jack Besh, 337 boy.
Yeah, those are some local kids who I think we're going to see a youth movement. If LSU loses a couple more and, let's say they're 5-5 or 6-5 or whatever late in the season, you'll see some younger guys playing at the end of the year just to get them some action. So we'll look ahead to next week. First, other college results.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, and I take 10 seconds. I'm really getting annoyed with blaming the coaches. I mean, people don't understand what they have in Brian Kelly. LSU, and I'm not just talking about this game. William, your comment is fair. I'm not just talking about this game, but I mean, stop blaming Brian Kelly and Jaden Daniels for LSU's thinking. The cover was left just incredibly bare by the previous regime, and they have to completely rebuild. Brian Kelly is the best coach this program has had since Nick Saban, and it's not close. So now you can move on. Now I feel bad.
No, I think you're right. That was more than 10 seconds, by the way.
It was like 13. I think 13.3 I had.
Is he better than the great Les Miles?
All right. Other college football results. Okay. We saw Tulane won again. Tulane undefeated in the American Athletic Conference, 2-0, and going to South Florida this week, who's not a very good team. Alabama barely survives against. I cannot believe A&M almost pulled that game out. I loved them with the points, but the way they were staying in that game with missed field goals and all that kind of stuff. Oklahoma lost to Texas by 49 points.
I love it.
Like Will Venables,
I don't even like
6 games.
That's awesome.
6 games into his tenure, and he's like already got people in Norman up in arms.
Wonderful.
UCLA guys, Chip Kelly's got it rolling at UCLA all of a sudden. It took a long time. It took longer than people thought, but that might be the team to look out for in the Pac-12, not USC. We'll see.
I like USC, but yeah, Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly. He might not know what he's doing in the NFL, but boy, he can coach some college. I mean, some guys. I mean, look at Saban. I mean, some guys are just better.
Matt Rule
out for college. Urban Meyer. I mean, it just So
Matt Rule's going to end up at Nebraska and see what he can do there. All right, want to take the end of the show here on Bayou Bets. Look ahead to what's coming up this week.
We know what you want to talk about. Go ahead. Just get it out of your system. What do you mean? I want to talk about it too. Go ahead. How happy you are. Go ahead.
The Seattle Mariners, baby.
Your chest is about to
down 8-1 in the 6th inning on Saturday. I, loyal fan that I am, said, I don't care. They're only in the playoffs once every 20 years. I'm going to watch them get their butts whipped. And they came back and won. Goodbye, Blue Jays. Canadian wave. Bye-bye. On to Houston. Mariners playing the Astros. By the way, that Astros price, minus 240 for the series, it's lower at literally every other sportsbook I've looked at. You think Caesars has a little bit of money riding on?
Oh, Mattress Mac has ruined
Mattress Mac.
Yeah, Mattress Mac putting all this money on the Astros.
Everybody.
Caesars trying to get money on the other side no matter what they can do. So you can't get plus 200 on the Mariners anywhere else. So if you want to bet them, Caesars is the place to do it. If you want to bet the Astros, probably not
Dusty
the place
doesn't
to do
choke
it.
till the World Series.
But these other series, very interesting. I mean, obviously the upset was the Padres over the Mets, but it sets up 3 of these 4 matchups are within the division. Phillies, Braves, Mariners, Astros, Padres, Dodgers, teams that know each other really well, already have played 19 times this year. To me, that mutes the advantage a little bit that the better teams would have. If you've seen that team 19 times, the Mariners have seen Justin Verlander 6 times this year. 6 times.
It is also proof. It is also proof that the playoffs are dumb in baseball. I mean, they've been watered down so much to where
total crapshoot.
A divisional round now, you're getting all those division matchups. It's not what you're supposed to have right now. So I mean, it's kind of goes to prove how bad baseball is done with things. I know why they've done it. They're trying to get people to watch baseball again, but for us who
it's money.
For us, those of us who actually care about baseball, it's terrible.
Same reason that the NBA expanded its playoffs and that the NFL is expanding its playoffs. Every additional TV property is worth millions of dollars. So William says, let's go Astros. I don't care how many trash cans they bang on, baby. I don't care. I don't care about the buzzers.
You can put Gabe on the screen for 2 minutes just to
go Mariners.
Yeah, let him defend the Astros.
Go Mariners.
Like anti-Astros panel here.
World Series. We'll wait until Thursday.
Take over the Yankees, boy. Boo Yankees. That's the team I can't stand.
Y'all can have Gabe on Thursday after the Astros take a two games to none lead and let him crow. Here's what's left for the World Series futures. Dodgers still the favorites, but followed closely by the Astros, Yankees, Braves, and then the gap to the 4 road teams here. Pretty difficult to find value, I'd say, at this juncture.
I think there could be some value with the Guardians. Plus 1,800. They could do something. Everyone's sleep. I think they could easily take down the Yankees.
So donate to charity.
I don't buy the Yankees one bit. I really don't. I don't see them getting past the Astros, but I definitely could see them getting past the Yankees. Guardians have a very strong pitching staff and a slept-on lineup. A lot of good young hitters: Oscar Gonzalez, Steven Kwan. There's a little bit of value to be had there potentially.
The thing I don't like about
Cleveland, rather bet on the Mariners than bet on the Guardians, and I'm not just saying that because of Zach.
Cleveland doesn't have very much power in its lineup, and to me in October, you got to have home runs. And I know they hit a couple against the Rays finally.
It was Ramirez, baby.
They have Jose Ramirez.
That's about all. Nothing with the Yankees in the 15th inning. I mean that was. It's not. You're not going to have 2-0 games going forward. That's all well and good. I'm glad your pitching was great, but it's not going to happen going forward.
I agree that the Guardians a contact team, and that doesn't play up against the best pitchers usually. Don't need trash cans anymore. Well, yeah, the funny thing is the Astros lineup is not as good as it was when they were using the trash cans. It's funny how that happened, but their pitching staff is incredible. Houston's pitching staff is incredible. I think that's where their advantage is.
I think that the Mariners
from 1
and
through
Braves,
13.
Mariners and Braves, I actually think there is actually like real value. Those are the only two teams I think hold any value at this point at all. Is the Mariners and the Braves. Now I have tickets on the Padres and Phillies and the Dodgers that I had preseason that I've already talked about. So I hope that the Padres and Phillies show me that there's value. And maybe there's a little bit with the Padres because of their pitching staff. That would be the only reason why I'd say there would, but I think they're priced about right. But I do think that the Braves are undervalued at $550 because I think that, to me, they have just as good a chance as the Dodgers to win the World Series. I think they're that good.
Tell you what, man, if Juan Soto gets hot, and he was starting to show signs of it. He has not hit very well since he came to San Diego, but the last couple of weeks of the season and then in that series in New York, he's starting to show signs of it. If he gets hot and you put him with Machado and that pitching staff, San Diego at 11-1 is not a terrible bet. I mean, if they can beat
up on those Mets pitchers like that. Yeah, if they can beat up on those Mets pitchers like that, they can hit pretty much anyone. So
I would rather face the Dodgers in a best of 5 than a best of 7.
Well, that's
a better chance
for sure.
And so the Padres have, they got to face the Dodgers, but it's a best of 5. You win one game in LA, and all of a sudden you have a chance at it. So that's the baseball playoffs. Division series start tomorrow and go for about a week, and then we'll be into the LCS.
What do we think about Max Scherzer complaining about his former manager as the reason why his arm got tired in the playoffs? Did you see that?
I feel like Max Scherzer would not have allowed himself to be taken out of a lot of those games. Like, he's the guy who wants to keep throwing. So
I think the brown eye is telling,
old. I mean, he's got a lot of mileage. It just is what it is.
Brown eye is telling the blue eye to be stupid. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, look, Max Scherzer, surefire Hall of Famer.
Zero question about that.
Bulldog, like one of the greatest pitchers of this generation.
Yeah,
but
he's like Kurt Schilling.
Father time comes for everybody.
Yeah, he's the Kurt Schilling of the.
Unless you're Justin Verlander.
Well, apparently.
You can get old, take a break, and come back and be your old self again if you're Justin Verlander.
Father time could come for Justin Verlander tomorrow. I wouldn't mind. Looking forward to next weekend as we continue. Oh, those are college results. I'm sorry. I'm looking at – where's my look aheads?
Did I put the wrong ones in there?
No. It's just out of order. It's okay. 3 battles of unbeaten in college football. I went and looked this up. There's only a possibility of 8 for the rest of the year. Chances are they're not all going to happen. But there are 3 of them this week. Those top 3 games, all 6 of those teams are undefeated. So this is a pivotal week in college football, especially that Alabama-Tennessee game. Is Tennessee for real? Can they get this win? I mean, I think they're for real regardless.
Is that line drop? Wasn't it a lot higher?
Yeah, it's now at 7.5. There must have been a bunch of money coming.
Wasn't it like 12 or 13 or something like that earlier?
Yeah, it dropped drastically.
As of last night, it was 7.5. Alabama.
Oh, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe before that, but
I thought I saw it. I don't know when I saw it. I thought it was double digits, and because I was telling Spencer that's a crazy line.
No, as of last night, it was 7.5. So I don't know. Okay. Maybe it moved before that. And by the way, Penn State, Michigan is now 6.5. So that one has tightened up a little bit. And then you have Oklahoma State, TCU. What else we got? Clemson at Florida State. Clemson trying to survive. Kansas, and this one's crazy to me.
They play Oklahoma this
Kansas
week.
Is at Oklahoma.
I guess that'll be in our Carl picks.
Oklahoma is a 7-point favorite.
Oh, come on. That's no way.
How can Oklahoma be favored against anybody?
That's I mean, they've looked so bad. Like, that's one where you feel like the team, they have just quit. So, yeah, I'd take the points with Kansas. That line makes no sense.
I'll take the Sooners.
I don't like saying this. I'll take Kansas.
Yeah, but I'll tell you another line on there that made no sense was that USC line. Why is Utah favored against USC?
Because
that makes no sense.
USC's a paper tiger. I like USC, but I just always have liked them. But I think they're a paper tiger. I don't think they're as good as they.
Yeah, it must be one where the Sharps must be all in with Utah because that's. I mean, the way you with Caleb Williams, you would think that. I mean, and I'm sure the line will move because, like, the public will smash that or whatever. They'll be like, "Oh, that's value," but I probably am not going to touch it because it just seems too good to be true.
That line seems about right for me with Mississippi State and Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky lost a bad South Carolina team last week, and I know they don't have the quarterback, but we don't know if he's going to be back this week either.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. If Will Levis doesn't play, Kentucky isn't that good. Mississippi State, look, LSU beat them. That's going to be LSU's best win all season long if they don't pull a major upset against Alabama or Ole Miss, because Mississippi State's very good. They thumped
they can
Texas
beat
A&M.
Ole Miss.
They thumped Texas A&M, and look what Texas A&M did. They went to Tuscaloosa, played toe-to-toe with Bama. We all like to poke fun at A&M, but they're not bad. And Mississippi State's very good.
Still.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. Mississippi State could beat Alabama.
They play certain opponents well. It's like
they beat Bama last year.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jimbo obviously has the blueprint on Saban to some degree.
But then there's other games that they don't show up. I mean, so I don't understand. Yeah. I mean, you just don't get. I mean, look at some of these teams they play, and you think they're going to blow them out, and they either lose or they just don't show up. So I don't know.
Gabe did say, by the way, our new team member Gabe, who y'all will meet a little later, said he did see Alabama minus 10.5 on Sunday in that game. So it may have dropped very quickly then
somewhere.
Because as of last night it was 7. It's now back to 7.5. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. NFL look ahead for Week 6. Bears and Commanders, a pick 'em on Thursday night. Boy, I don't even know why you put that game on there, Spencer, because that is going to be a snooze fest.
There really wasn't many. This Week 6 slate was not very good. Honestly.
Are you kidding? There's 7 games that are within 3 points.
I love Bills, Chiefs, and Cowboys, Eagles though. That's going to be good viewing on Sunday.
For sure, Bills, Chiefs, man.
I'm
always love to see that. That'll be a rematch of that crazy divisional game from last year.
I'm looking forward to Ravens and Giants. I mean, Ravens.
That'll be interesting. Yeah,
very interesting because the Giants 4-1 beating Aaron Rodgers. I think we learned a lot about them. The Giants were my sleeper pick in the NFC East this year. Of course, I picked the Eagles to finish 3rd in the division. So what do I know? I guess they still could, but they're not looking like they're going to finish 3rd. I thought it was going to be the Giants / Cowboys and then Philadelphia. It's hard to deny that even yesterday, they didn't play all that well yesterday, but they still – I think their defense is much better than I gave them credit for. But Ravens, Giants, I'm really looking forward to that because the Ravens defense, even though they played decent last night, they got up for Cincinnati. Are they going to be able to get up for the Giants? I don't know. I think this is could be a sneaky money line pick.
Yeah, the Giants though are just so much with Saquon. It's like outside of Saquon Barkley, they don't really have.
Daniel Jones played outstanding yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, you say they don't have much besides Saquon, but Saquon can do a lot of things for you.
Yeah, he's a stud. I mean, they're a legit wild card contender, but I don't trust Daniel Jones.
We shall see.
Oh boy.
Instead of a final thought, or if y'all have a final thought,
with a fantasy mind.
After Week 8, maybe I'll change my mind. But as of now, I don't trust the guy. He's shown too many times that he's a choke artist and a turnover specialist.
You're thinking with a fantasy football mind and not with an analytical betting football mind. They're two different things. I wouldn't want Daniel Jones in fantasy football.
Well, I am thinking from an analytical mind as far as I don't like players that turn the ball over. And throughout his career, he's been one of the most turnover-prone QBs.
No, I mean, I think
he's also had some
turnovers in fantasy football don't matter that much. But, okay, here we go. I want to do sort of final thoughts, but if you have a final thought, go ahead. I also would like to know, and drop this in the comments too, what kind of reception does Joe Burrow get on Sunday? I assume he will be cheered at the Dome, at least to begin with. But this is a pivotal game for the Saints. So Saints fan, I mean, I think the loyalty to the LSU legend will only go so far. What do you guys think?
I think that I think he will get a smattering of both. You got to remember, not everyone in that dome is an LSU fan, so that's part of it. But how can you not like Joe Burrow? I mean, to boo, it's not, you're not going to boo Joe Burrow. So I think it'll be mostly cheers. It'll be interesting to see. I would imagine that Cincinnati, they don't even announce the opponent's offense, though. I don't think.
Yeah, they don't announce. They just come out
Right.
as a team.
They just come out.
Yeah.
So I think when he comes out, he'll get cheered. But will he get a little nervous being back on that floor? Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they
I don't
just
think I'm gonna be picking
Cincinnati's just had one of those like just kind of just screwy season, coming off the Super Bowl, like being the Super Bowl runner up. It's like the curse of the Super Bowl runner up tends to not have things go their way the next year. So I'm thinking this could be a good spot for the Saints because
they've been on the road a lot too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And listen, if the Saints can win this game, things are kind of back on the table for them. They're 3-3. Yes, they should probably be better than that. But you say it's very close to a must-win, Jim. I say if they do win, now you can't breathe too deep a sigh of relief. But at 3-3, you can kind of reset and say, okay, got through the first part of the season 3-3, got to play a little bit better, yada yada yada. But you're sort of in the thick of things then. So that's where I'll go with that. And it's a 1.5-point spread, so anybody's game. We'll talk more about it on Bayou Bets on Thursday. Jim, you've got Datitude coming up Thursday morning as well with Uncle Big Nick with picks, and you all will be on the Fantasy Roundup at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So lots to look forward to here on Bayou Bets. I'd like to remind you one more time, you can get that free bet and you can get those Caesars rewards points by going to NOLA.com/Caesars to sign up for the Caesars Sportsbook app today. Until next time, for Spencer the Guru and for Jim Derry, I'm Zach Ewing. Thanks for watching, everybody.